Hey there, offgoers. Welcome back to episode 117, already in progress. We posted the first half yesterday afternoon, so you can check that out on YouTube, SoundCloud, or on iTunes. In this second half, we continue our chat with Kill Bill, his friend Shane, and we move into our Patreon-requested album review. And if there is an album that you want to request us to review on the podcast, it is a one-time $40 pledge to patreon.com/muse. And in addition, there's also a 30-minute deleted segment with Kill Bill, myself, and Rap Critic that we recorded before the podcast actually got started. And if you want to hear that, that's on our Patreons too.
Just got word. Now, this goes back to an old Going Off episode.
Breaking news?
Yeah. Quentin Tarentino prepping new movie tackling the Manson family murders.
Oh my god! That is a callback! Dude, we fucking spent such a break on this podcast months ago, maybe even a fucking year ago at this point, talking about just the Manson family murders and the Sharon Tate fucking that whole thing.
Ultra-violent film about weird fucking cult.
Yeah. I listened to, I don't know if y'all know who I'm talking about, but I fuck with last podcast on the left, like super heavy.
Love it.
But they do like, well, not just like paranormal stuff, but also like serial killer stuff and like stuff about the occult and stuff. And it's really funny. It's got Henry Zebrowski's on it from, he's on Adult Swim, that Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell. Yeah. They got like Ben Kissel on there and a couple other people. But anyway, yeah, like they have this whole like 3-part thing on the Manson thing. And there's so much like interesting shit that I did not know about.
They do their research, man.
Yeah.
The
OJ one's really good too.
Yeah.
But
the 9/11 one's really good too. Like, not even on some conspiracy. Like, there's the conspiracy shit, but like just the overall like body of work. Like, breaking it down.
It's like 3 parts. It's like one part is the day. The next part is like the like political like shit that came along with it. Then like the third part was like the crazy like conspiracy shit, like aliens and like all this other shit. But it's really good. So if y'all ever check that out, last podcast on the left, I'm plugging them. They don't even know me, and I'm plugging them, dude.
Better get a shirt out of this.
I think this would be his first movie that was ever like about a real event, though. Usually, because I could see I could see this being, I could see this easily being like kind of offensive, you know, because like all of his movies are ridiculous and exploitative and whatever, but you know they're not based on real people.
Kill Bill's based on me.
Oh yeah, that's right. Part 1 and 2.
Oh, remember that one time when your ex? Oh boy.
Yeah.
Women, am I right?
Yeah. No, but when you had mentioned getting a free T-shirt, that reminded me of something we were meaning to talk about on the show weeks ago, or something like that. The Going Off podcast wants to embrace capitalism at some point in the future and branch out into merch. And this is basically us just saying to the audience, you know our names. Look up our number. You know our Twitter. You know our Facebook. Let us know what you would consider buying. Not what you think would be cool. Not what you'd like to see, but what you'd actually consider buying. Because there's a big difference. I've put the call out before, like what would be cool shirt designs, and they give you tons of shirt designs. But then it's like, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily buy that shit though.
I ain't gonna buy that shit, but you know, it'd be
so
cool.
I mean, at the very base level, we're thinking stickers would be the easiest thing to produce.
Fridge magnets,
keychains, fidget spinners.
I want to see, and this is a thing that me and Rav are talking about doing, and you guys can steal our idea.
We will jump on that bandwagon, absolutely.
Yeah, Japanese Daikikimura body pillows. And on one side is Muse, and if you flip it over, it's Rap Critic on the other side.
Dude, if you wanted to order a small, you could have mine, and if you ordered a large, you can fucking get a Darren sized. It's all for preference and body shape. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I just imagine you being like extremely like I mean, I've met you in person, but like, and what if you were like 3 feet tall? And like on one side is like the one side is like the full one. It's like the full size body pillow, and if you flip it over, it's you, and you're just like dangling from the top, and there's no bottom to it. You know what I'm saying?
Like you're just holding on like cliffhanger.
Yeah. The
I'm a fucking
cuddliest of muses.
car suction cup doll just hanging off.
Like, what would my pose be, though? Like, would I be doing, like, the sort of anime chick where she has, like, the index finger up to her mouth and she's like, oh, like that?
And you would have, like anime blushing, like, photoshopped on your face. Your eyes would be hella shiny.
Senpai. Yeah, notice me senpai eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
And I guess I would just look irritated.
Yeah, you would be a tsundere. Is that it? Tsundere? I don't know how to say it.
I don't speak
Was that
Italian.
what that is?
That's some weeby jokes right there for y'all.
People, whenever they see videos, especially the one we had posted for the Soulja Boy review, when we're like standing side by side, because when we're doing the cliche reviewing a thing on a fucking motel bed thing that everyone's done at least once in their content creating lives, we're sitting and you can't really tell if there's that much of a difference in size. But when we're standing up in the fucking doorway, people are like, oh my god, I didn't realize there was such a size difference. But oh yeah, there definitely is.
I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I think Darren's got a good 2 feet on me or something crazy like that.
Yeah. I don't know.
And
I don't think when I was
shit.
with y'all, I think Darren was sitting down the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he stood up like at any point, because like I came over to y'all at the desk and like I think you were kind of like in your. I didn't want to like. You looked like you were doing something or you were talking to someone. I didn't like go over there.
Yeah, we were trying to get a whole bunch of shit.
Yeah, and I wasn't like trying to be like annoying, but I remember you had some like fireball in you or something.
Oh yeah,
and you were like a great person to talk to.
Also trying to set up.
Y'all
shit.
talked about that was the time y'all talked about what was it, Macho Man or something?
Yeah, the Macho Man album.
Oh, that shit was fucking legendary, dude.
We talked briefly about doing something else live. We're just trying to figure out like a venue, I guess, or someone that would actually be willing to have us. It's just, I don't know if the fucking convention is the way to go about it, and we might need to start thinking outside the box.
Hey man, if you guys ever want, we can meet up sometime. You guys do a live thing, and then I'll do a show at the end, dude. It'll be lit. Let's get it cracking.
I'll be the hype man for both.
Yeah, Shane does ad libs while we're doing fucking the podcast. He does Pastor Troy ad libs. Yeah. Have y'all ever heard that song, Vice Versa, by Pastor Troy?
I remember that song. I think that was the one song I heard from him, and I was like, all right.
No, Pastor Troy is a fucking legend, like in that sphere of music. But it's just like that one song where he's just like, what if this was like this instead of it being like this? He's just like, listen to the song. Everybody, people who are listening at home, go listen to Vice Versa by Pastor Troy. But the thing that's entertaining about it is he does this ad lib at the end where he says yeah, and at first it starts off like yeah, but then by the end of the song it gets louder and louder. At the end of it, he is just shouting yeah at the top of his fucking lungs. Yeah.
A song that I was asking Darren if he had ever heard, and I was going to bring it up on the podcast, was the song "Kiss Kiss" by Chris Brown and T-Pain.
Yeah, a classic.
It's like from 2008. The kiss kiss on the McDonald's. The thing I wanted to bring up was the intro to the song, because I'd never heard that before. It's one of these, they used to do it a lot. I don't think they do it so much anymore, where it's like they pose it as someone's a DJ and someone calls in. And
it's like a skit.
Yeah, it's like a little skit.
The Pablo formula.
Yeah, like Petey Pablo.
Yeah, let's take some requests.
There was a few of those, but the weird thing that sets Chris Brown's apart is that in this one, it's T-Pain is the DJ, and this guy calls up, and the guy T-Pain, yeah, hey T-Pain, and T-Pain goes, so what's going on, man? And he's like, everything's going wrong. My girl ain't treating me. She ain't doing the things she used to do. And T-Pain just goes, hey, well, I got the thing for you. The new song from T-Pain and Chris Brown. And in the background, you hear the guy in the phone just go, wait a minute, what are those boys gonna do for me? And then at the end of it, he just goes, ah! And then the song just starts.
Wait, hold on. What if it was just like, my girl, she ain't treat me right. What am I going to do? And he's like, well, I got the thing for you. I got Chris Brown. And he just goes and beats his girl.
Oh no!
Damn it! It's a great idea. Thanks, T-Pain.
I just like, he's on the phone and like, DJ, that's not what I want.
DJ, this is an assault. You're going to jail.
How do you make him stop?
He bills him for it.
Oh my god! Wait! I'm looking at the video! Why is he so sweaty?
How sweaty? He's sweaty because his girl is sweating him.
They went to McDonald's, bro.
Yeah.
The date didn't go right. They went to McDonald's and the date went awry.
The date went awry.
He had fucking overalls on.
The date went awry.
Fucking black Farmer John over here.
Farmer's only time.
He's just bouncing back and forth. Why is he bouncing?
Damn, dude, that just gave me an idea. Shane just gave me an idea. I'm about to do the fucking farmersonly.com dating anthem.
You don't have to be lonely, cause it's farmer's only time.
Okay. What the hell is this video? Okay, first of all, the vocals with the guy aren't even synced up to the guy talking. So, like, him bouncing back and forth seems like a tactic they use to, like, mask the fact that it's not, like, synced up, you know?
When is Petey Pablo gonna come back and make a fucking record, like for the...
Oh, at the end of 2000 and fucking never.
It's about fucking time.
I was listening to Freak a Leak the other day because I was showing. Sure. It's a fun fact that I read this in Scratch magazine back when that was a thing. It was like a producer magazine. It only lasted like 2 years or something.
Oh,
but okay, you know Lil Jon. He produced Freak a Leak, he produced Yeah by Usher, and he produced Goodies by Ciara. Ciara? I always say Ciara. Anyway, Goodies. And so apparently those were all done in the same project file. If you listen, the drums, the tempo, everything's the same, right? And he just like he did like interchangeable melodies, you know, in different keys and stuff. And he was showing them to different people. He was like, "Hey, what do you think about this one? What do you think about this one? What do you think about this one?" And everyone was like, "I really love all of them," you know. And
he's like, "Shit, I wasn't expecting him to like all three."
Apparently, he sold because all of those songs are number ones, right? And they're all based on the same project file.
He had a formula.
And I learned that, right? And like, this is when I was first getting into producing and like DJing and stuff. And like, so I made this like DJ mix that was all three of those songs. And you can just like press play at the end of every one of those songs. And it sounds like a perfect fucking mix. Like, it sounds like right at the very end, like, you know, at the very end of the fucking Usher by Usher, it has that little ding at the very end. If you just press it right there, it's like the exact same tempo, same key, everything. Like, but yeah, he made like well over $1 million off of like each of those songs or some crazy shit.
There was that controversy with the producer who wrote the songs Halo for Beyonce, and then basically gave the exact same thing to Kelly Clarkson for a song. And they both came out like...
Is no one like vetting
They
this
both
shit?
came out like at the exact same time, and people were like, these songs sound identical, even to where like Kelly Clarkson and Beyonce were like, why the fuck did you give us similar songs? Like, even they were a bit bummed by it.
Dude, that has happened way too many times in the music industry. Is literally no one like checking this shit?
I guess not.
No.
That's like that song. What was the whole thing with like? Remember like Blurred Lines? And they had that they lost that thing. I don't know. They were basically saying like that they stole. You know,
it was a Marvin Gaye thing. Yeah,
but like, was it actually? Because I remember listening to the song and I was like, this only sounds sort of similar. And I was just like,
it doesn't sound enough like it, in my opinion.
It's like the same chord progression and that's it. But
I think it was bullshit.
That. I'm a big believer in like sampling, and I feel like that I'm like a madman or something, but like I've always like thought that like sound is sound, and like I'm of the thought that if you're not ripping someone off, like if you take someone's drums and completely like repurpose it, you know, and it's unrecognizable, then you shouldn't have to fucking pay for. I ain't paying for nothing.
But yo, Muse, you gotta watch this video. The vice versa.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's distracting.
I love how it keeps going back to him in the
mirror. Oh my god, that's really fucking annoying.
What do you mean, dude? That shit's hard.
Fire. That was fire for the time.
That beat, y'all can't lie. Y'all can't lie and say that beat's not kind of hard though.
The beat's good, yeah. I like that. It reminds me of there was another thing from that same time period is the fucking Kiss Kiss. That song Apologize by Timbaland and One Republic. It's too late to apologize. There's this sample that plays in the background, but it plays way too frequently to the point where it gets really annoying. It's that It happens so many times.
That's like that's the thing that like Timbaland does though. Like, cause I remember there's that song. You know that song "Put You on Game" by The Game and Timbaland. Well, it's a song. It's a song off of the first. I think it's off of the documentary, the first Game album.
Oh, okay.
And dude says, or like, you know, like there's this one vocal sample, and it sounds so hard when it first comes on. It's like this like sample, and it's like so fucking hard. But then by the end of the song, you're like, this is fucking annoying. Like he didn't like spread it out enough or something, you know?
Yeah.
And then it's got randomly like, you know, it was like a big trend for producers to like interject, like they had like Lil Jon, Swizz Beatz, Jazzy Faye, like all these motherfuckers would come in,
DJ Khaled,
you know, and like Lil Jon, I felt like that like worked because that was like his thing, you know, but with Timbaland it kind of worked too because he was just rapping on it, but he had to like throw his little like 8 bars in at the end, and it's him just like go ahead,
like on that fucking what was the name of that song? Cry Me a River. Or at the tail end, he's like, I guess I did what I did. All right, I'm gonna go now.
Yeah, basically.
Like, it's like the damage is done, so I guess I'll be leaving. I just love it. Oh shit, I fucked up. Well,
who do you guys think was the most annoying of those producers that would come in and like they would hijack the songs?
I gotta say the worst is DJ Khaled because he doesn't do anything.
Like he produced records, but he didn't produce records.
That's the thing. That's what pisses me off so much. Because he doesn't do anything. Like, at least with other people. No. At least with other people, it's like...
kind of. He's like a Diddy. Like he puts together collabs, and then he like looks down on motherfuckers who actually make beats, and he's like, I'm a good producer. I do this. But anyway, but no.
Have you heard the new fucking DJ Khaled song where just like... I've never heard a DJ Khaled song that straight up jacks a whole fucking like riff or a beat, but it takes the that song that Santana did that it's like
I thought they were riffing off of Wu-Tang Clan Ain't Nothing to Fuck With.
It's like a whole fucking segment of a song, and it's just smack dab in the middle, and then he just fucking does his like "We the best" or whatever, and it just like repeats like 12 times at the end of the song. It's one of the most obnoxious songs I think he's ever put out.
This is my thing with DJ Khaled in doing shit like that. Like, I don't care that he sampled whatever. Like, you know, it's like obviously like the song's kind of whatever, right? Like it is what it is. But like okay, I don't mind DJs because there was a trend when like mixtape DJs and stuff were becoming, but I don't mind that shit.
Of course. But they produce
not
the
necessarily.
beats.
Hold on. I still think like I have like a tremendous amount of respect for people like DJ Drama. Not because he produces beats, because DJ Drama has never made a beat in his life, right? But it's because like he comes on there and you'll listen to him talk, and it's like he hypes it up in a way that makes you go like, oh shit, this shit's about to be tight. You know, I remember he also used to be like, Mr. Thanksgiving, like he was like, I remember this one part where he was just like, you know, when I knew I was born to do this, he was like, when I was fucking 10 years old, my mama told me this, and then this happened, and this happened, and this is what got me here today. Lil Wayne, let's get him. You know what I'm saying? It'll be some hard ass shit. Whereas like DJ Khaled literally comes on, and fun fact, I had the first DJ Khaled album, Listen, the one that came out like when I was like 16. Yeah. And he produced like 2 songs on that record. He never produced anything after that. And they were both like East Coast joints. He did that song for Beanie Siegel and Jadakiss. And like that shit is a hard ass beat, but it's nothing like the rest of what he makes.
My thing is, it's like literally for his albums, he could have recorded everything that he has said maybe like 3 albums ago, and then all he does is just like, yo, I like that beat. Throw that vocal sample that I did 3 years ago over it, where I say my name and I say iconic and colossal.
Split he's basically a collab manager who just knows enough people, and like now he's like a brand, a meme, if you will. So like now it's like people will be like, yeah, I want to be on the DJ Khaled album. Whereas like before, even on the Listen albums and stuff, I feel like it was like a legitimate. He really did want to make an album that was like really good, and he got together a bunch of rappers that he fucked with and producers he fucked with. Whereas like now I just feel like it's like he's hosting a TV show, and let's just like throw these people together and I'm gonna fucking yell over it, and that's the song. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, it would be better actually if he treated it like a TV show. Like imagine if like in between they had skits where he was like interviewing the guy, or maybe like his silly shit that he does on Snapchat or whatever. And
that would be cool.
That'd be pretty cool.
I don't know if this counts as people hijacking, but one of the most obnoxious I remember back a few years ago was fucking that J.R. Rodham character.
Oh yeah.
Because at the beginning of his fucking songs, he would have 3 samples that he would put at the beginning of all his songs. He would have him go J.R. Then he would have another one that would be a bam, 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 bam. And then he would have another one, because it's his record label, that would go Beluga, Beluga, Beluga Heights.
Beluga Heights. Yeah.
And what's his worse when it's a fucking Jason Derulo song. Now you got those 3 and Jason Derulo. So now you got 4 things before the vocals even start.
Yo.
That was my shit back then, though.
It's like they don't give a fuck about this actually being a song. It's literally just remember who I am, you know?
Yeah. Well, the thing is with JR, you know, he falls into this like category of producer at the time that I really dislike, which is like the white guy who does coke but wears a suit. Like the Scott Storches, which, by the way, if y'all want to see something sad, look at what Scott Storch is doing right now. Scott Storch. So what Scott Storch is doing right now, dude. He's doing like EDM music, but it's like some shit that sounds like it would have been on EDM like 3 years ago. And it's like just hard.
Oh, he looks like a douche.
Oh man, it's hard to look, because he blew all of his money on cocaine and fucking expensive cars, and then like instead of reinventing himself, like that's the thing I think producers need to do. They need to reinvent themselves every once in a while, because you're gonna get stale unless you make something that's like super timeless. You know, that's gonna be a thing that's always gonna be came to you, like a Dr. Dre or something.
Always
you know?
Learn.
But even Dr. Dre reinvented himself. I don't ever see Scott Storch ever becoming like this chart-topping dude because of the type of music that he makes. Like, let's just like look at this stuff that like Scott Storch produced. He produced a lot of songs for like 50 Cent, a lot of songs for like who else did he do?
And they also I remember he produced for Sean Paul and Beyonce. Remember that Baby Boy, You've Been on My Mind? Because his beats always sounded like that vague, generic world music sort of thing.
It's basically like, it just makes me think of like gentrification Dr. Dre. Like,
I thought he was gentrification Timbaland. Because, you know, like, Timbaland will take a foreign beat and make it sound cool. You know what I mean? Like, just think about how he flipped. Remember Ugly by Bubba Sparks? And what's the name of the other song? Missy Elliott's Get Your Freak On. Do you remember those 2 songs? And how they sounded...
Great fucking beats, dude.
Yeah, they sounded almost exactly the same, but they were fucking dope.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, Get Your Freak On, that's like a fucking... That was like one of the first rap songs I ever heard.
Dude, that
and
shit
I
is
remember
a
it being
classic.
like, this shit's fucking crazy.
Oh,
that's on the video, too.
Dude, do you know how little he gave a fuck? In the Bubba Sparks Ugly video, there's literally a point near the end where they go back and forth between the 2 beats that sound exactly, like, almost exactly alike. I'm not even bullshitting with you.
Yo, speaking of Missy Elliott, you know that one song where she says, like, you know, back it up and reverse it, and then it's, like, I guess backwards, you know? Like, I always thought, like, would it be funny if, like, they go to, like, reverse it, and she's like, nyop, dip, 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 and then they, like, fucking, like, reverse it, and it was just like, Bush did 9/11.
I didn't think anyone was actually gonna do it. How sad was it when fucking Missy Elliott came back at the Super Bowl with Katy Perry like 2 years ago, had to go on fucking Twitter and to a whole new audience that has like never heard of her because like she hasn't been like relevant like in the top hits or whatever in so long, had to tell these people, hey, check out my catalog on iTunes if you're not aware of who I am or whatever. Released a new fuck single and like nobody gave a shit. It was even produced by fucking Pharrell and it didn't do shit.
Oh yeah. But it was dope though. It was
it's
a nice
hard,
song.
Man.
I didn't even hear it.
It wasn't bad.
You can't just throw somebody out there and be like, oh yeah, by the way, this is that person afterwards. Like you got to build them up. And like, I know that it's like, obviously for people like you and me or us, like we all know who the fuck Missy Elliott is, you know, but like fucking Jared
Johnny on the block.
Johnny on the block, dude. He doesn't fucking know anything about Missy Elliott, and you know what? He's just really, really psyched about that Lil Pump record that's about to drop.
I'm looking at the recommended videos on the side of Bubba Sparxxx Ugly, and the fucking title card they got for D12 Purple Hills is just one of the dudes in clown makeup. How is that going to sell anybody on the single if they don't know who D12 is? Put Eminem in the fucking title card.
Well, yeah, of course. Like, yeah, they should have, because like, it's not just that, but fucking Eminem did the fucking chorus on that song. It'd be different if like Bizarre did the chorus. They should put Bizarre on the front, but I mean, still, like,
I don't think they should put Bizarre on the front, even if it's his fucking song.
Of anything?
No.
Dude, Bizarre's a beautiful man, dude.
He's a beautiful man with a beautiful spirit.
I was listening to King Gordy the other night, like, because I was on this, we have like a Discord channel. It's like the EXO chat, like everybody who like fucks with us, and we were in there and like we were talking about like obscure rap music, and like King Gordy came up, and there's a song that he had with Bizarre, and it was a diss to Justin Bieber, and this is like when Justin Bieber was like 14.
Oh shit.
And like the whole song is about how they're gonna have sex with Justin Bieber, and it's real weird to listen to. King Gordy's a fucking good wordsmith, but like it's just like when he does shit like that, I'm like, this is a little creepy. Like, I know it's horrorcore.
His problem is that he doesn't have a good flow. And it's like it's basically his style is Eminem without anything that makes Eminem interesting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it's just like, okay, I can already hear this from the other guy who's on the song. I don't need to hear this. And then, you want me to listen to a whole album with just this motherfucker? No, thank you.
Yeah, no, definitely. Especially because like all the King Gordy shit I had heard was fucking like up until that point was all a cappella, and that's just him like yelling. And I was like, damn, this shit, there's all the fucking freestyles he does, which his freestyles are fucking phenomenal. Like, they're really well done. But like on a record, it's just like, no, like it just doesn't translate the same. You know what I'm saying? It's like a lot of people that are like that. I feel like they're like really good, or like rappers that you put them on like radio shows and shit, and like they'll fucking bar it out, and you'll be like, damn, that shit's hard, and then like you never like want to listen to their record because they're not rapping on those type of beats, or like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like how I feel about with the Cypher or whatever. Like, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking like, wow, you know, we shit on Boogie with the Beat, but he's pretty good here. But it's like, is everything else I hear from this guy going to be like this? Or is it going to be like the stuff I heard when we were first checking him out and I wasn't all that impressed by him?
This is my problem with XXL, like the way they've been doing it lately, is like, I don't mind them doing a cappella stuff, but like, one, they need to like get in a room that's not fucking like, that's actually like good sound, because like, for one, they'll be rapping and it won't sound good because they're using these fucking shitty room mics. Yeah, and then on top of that, half of the time, like, okay, for example, like X, like, you know, no matter what he does, that he's not gonna sound like, and I didn't really mind his Cypher, but it doesn't sound like anything he's ever done, because it's all based on the beat, and it's all based on the production, and like him, like the yelling, from the yelling to the singing to any of that shit. It doesn't sound like anything like that. And it was the same thing last year, like Kodak Black had a fucking verse, and it's like, if you did that over a beat, I'm sure it would sound like better, you know, but instead it just sounds lazy, and like he doesn't have his vocal dubbing or any of that cool shit. And they're putting all these dudes who are not that type of rapper in situations where like they're like, oh yeah, you're a rapper, well, let's see you bar it out, and they're like, not those type of people. I just didn't see, like, why would any Playboi Carti fan want to hear Playboi Carti spit without a beat?
So this week's request was made by Shy Gal, and if you'd like to do a request, go to our Patreons or our just our Patreons. I don't know what the hell else I was gonna say.
You want to try that again, pal?
Fuck y'all. All right. So this request was made by Shy Gal. And if you'd like to also do a request, you can go to either one of our Patreons. $40 pledge. You got an album you wanted to listen to. Just come on over here. Come on down and come over.
Don't be shy, gal.
What are you even worried about? Just come on down. It's a $40 one donation pledge, and all right, let's get into it. So
it's Times Infinity by Watsky.
Yeah.
Old familiar face, Watsky.
Mm-hmm. I remember last time we reviewed his album. I can't remember what we thought of it, but
neither do I, which is not a good sign. I probably, with that in mind, I probably gave it like a 3 or a 3.5.
Yeah,
if I had to guess.
That. He's one of those guys that kind of really came up in the sort of like the mid 2010s, the early to mid 2010s sort of like, oh look, it's a white guy who's really good at rapping sort of thing.
And I mean, there was such an influx of kind of like white rappers in the kind of like the pop radio sense. You know, you had like Spose and Mac Miller, who we reviewed that one time, but we lost the audio, and we're not doing that again. But he kind of stood out because it was like, I hate to break it down with like race, but like he had skill compared to the other more well-known white rappers, if we're gonna break it down like that. He had a flow, he had the speed rapping thing, which always gets people's attention. And I remember, compared to Cardboard Castles, which is what we reviewed last time, I don't know if there was really a lot of maturing since that album. I mean, it was only like maybe like a couple years older than Times Infinity, so I don't really expect too much of a change. It's basically the same kind of fare, same thing you could expect. And in which to say, spoiler, I would probably also give this somewhere between a 3.5 and a 4.
I disagree with you. I actually saw a lot of growth on this album.
Did you?
Yeah, as far as experimenting with flow, because like he knows that's what his big thing is, and I think he does a lot of things that are really fun that makes the flow really enjoyable to listen to. It was kind of like a Tech 9 thing, you know?
There were some exceptions, yeah.
Yeah, like Springtime in New York. It might not have been my favorite track, but it was interesting how he was just sort of flowing on the beat and trying to do different, you know what I mean? Just different sounds. And in a way that, like, I could imagine going to a concert, and if he had the presence for it, like, really enjoying it, you know?
Yeah, we had, oh god, what was it? There was another song later called Don't Be Nice. That nice. Kind of went like back and forth with like the length of the bar, you know? He would like do a full, and then he would kind of like cut it off real fast, or like then the next one would be like 2 words. Like that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And as far as like the beat work, some of these were really fucking cool. There was one Chemical Angels, I want to say.
Yeah, that was a really good one. Yeah,
that had like this like the production on the fucking drums on that song sounded so fucking good. Like that got my attention right away. And you know, I don't mean to take that away from Watsky, but there were some tracks that got my attention more with the production than they did with him per se. But there were other songs that I thought he did really well on. When we first started talking about it, and you had mentioned that the opening track was a sequel to a song from Cardboard Castles, Tiny Little Screens Part 3?
Yeah,
or something Little Screens.
Yeah, Tiny Glowing Screens.
Tiny boxes, tiny bubbles, I don't know. It was kind of weird to have like a sequel song open an album, but honestly, if you didn't even call it that, you wouldn't really know.
Yeah, it doesn't really relate to, you know, the original song, so I don't understand why it's like that.
Yeah, I don't know why you need to go that extra step. Like, oh, well, I already did it twice. Gotta have a trilogy. Maybe? I don't know. He does that even on this album, too. He has 3 songs that are kind of part of a 3-act thing.
But I did like that. But what I don't like about the first song is that it really sets things up badly, because I don't know if it was just me, but I could barely hear him in the first song. Like, I was fighting to hear just what the hell he was saying, and it was just overpowering, the beat was.
I really didn't mind. I really liked that song, and something that the album does, which is interesting, and I'm not sure the practicality of it in this day and age, where the beginning of the first track and the end of the last track if you're not listening on Spotify, because then there's a bonus track that fucks everything up. But it has like street ambience, like street sounds. So if it repeated itself at the end of the last track and went back to the beginning of the first track, it would loop itself. Now, the CD player in my car does that. When the last track is over, it goes back to the first. But now there's cars that don't even have CD players. And if you're listening to it on an iPod, or like an iPhone, it probably won't do that. So I'm just trying to figure out when it would happen, like when it would work.
Well, what I didn't like about that last song, though, is that it cut it off so soon. Like, there's 4 minutes of just street ambience.
I hate that. I didn't like that.
Yeah, that annoyed the hell out of me. Like, you can do that, but maybe make it like the last minute or so.
You don't need to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
You can have the first minute of the first track and the last minute of the last track, and that's enough. I get it.
Yeah.
No one's listening through 4 more minutes for the CD to repeat. They're gonna hit the next button and go back to the beginning.
Exactly.
No one's putting up with that shit.
And I really liked Pink Lemonade. I loved how the beat shift happened in that song. That was kind of genius. It starts off with a normal beat, then you sort of hear this like 50s sort of thing come in, but then it completely switches by the end. It's just like, what? It's like, wait, did we go through 2 songs? What?
He pulled a fucking Timbaland. All right, here's the switch up. And switch it back. Now, man, I didn't...
really?
I probably said this on the last album too, but man, Watsky's attempts at humor make me cringe so fucking hard. He's not a funny guy. Like, Pink Lemonade, beat-wise and all that, that's one of the instances where it's like, he's not the main event. He's not the star attraction on that one. And what the fuck is the song? Oh, the song before it. What was that song?
It's Springtime in New York.
Yeah. No. I did not care for those two. No. I didn't care for those two, and I didn't care for Going Down. You take those off the album, it's probably not... I probably would have gave it a solid 4, maybe even a 4.5. But those in particular...
Yeah, no,
man,
I totally feel you on
get the fuck out with that shit. Especially on an album where you have songs like Stick to Your Guns. How are you then... only a few songs later, gonna have a song like fucking Going Down, but we'll get to both of those in a minute. Pick one, dude. I can't. Fucking Dan Bull did the same shit, where it was like a couple songs that were super serious topics, and then there's other ones where he's doing wacky voices and like, stop.
Yeah, and the thing is,
it's jarring.
It's so ridiculous to have it back to back that like the silly song comes first, and then you have the serious song, and like, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be laughing now. You know what I mean? So, and it's so, like, it's just not set up in a very good way. Like, you know, sometimes what people will do is have the chorus come in, lets you really know that this is supposed to be serious. But with this, it'll start with the verse, like, immediately. Here, we went from the silly song and the silly chorus immediately into the first verse where he's talking about, like, wanting to hit himself. And it's just like, well, this sounds like it's supposed to be a joke. And then halfway through, you're like, oh, you're serious. Well, at least that was spaced out a little bit, though.
It was, yeah.
Because Brave New World was in the middle of it. Another good song. But Going Down, like, the first 2 verses, I could feel it on the sort of like, hey, Run the Jewels being, outlandish with the sex talk and shit like that about going down on chicks. But then verses 3 and verse 4, it split it up because... it didn't make it about, like, how much he liked going down on dudes or whatever, like, or fine if that was the thing. It made it about how uncomfortable he was with the idea and how, like, well, I guess at some point I will. And it was just, like, it was just really odd. You know what I mean?
He went about it really weird. Like, if you're doing some type of... like exposure therapy, or what's that called? Immersion therapy? You know, like, oh, this one thing really freaks me out, so I'm gonna fucking really just overexpose myself to it so it's not weird to me anymore. But the way he went about this it made me uncomfortable with, like, dude, I don't think this is really gonna go well.
Yeah, it attempts, like, the humor that you already don't like is kind of amped up to 11 because
It's times infinity.
Thank you. Yes. It's an awkward motherfucker. But it's an awkward topic. I get it. And so he uses humor to try to like work around it. But it's just in such an odd way where it's like, I can tell you're uncomfortable too. You know what I mean? And so it's like, well, we're both uncomfortable. So why the fuck are you even making this up? You know, like, he said with the, just to give you an example, he says, so let's say you're okay with your lips around a cock, but you still can't wrap your mouth around the final money shot. Don't give up. If the nut is what truly makes it foul, then just give him close to busting and hand him a paper towel. Yup. No gravy on your chin. Yup. Everybody wins. Like, do you get what I'm trying to say with the sort of like, it feels awkward on both ends. Like, he feels awkward talking about it, and I feel awkward listening to it. Like, it would have been better if he got a chick on here or something like that, and have it about, like, or got a gay rapper or something like that, and had him talk about, like, oh, hey, I like going down on dudes or whatever. You know what I mean? If you're gonna do the sort of, like, two sides of the coin, it made it sort of like going down on chicks is awesome, but going down on dudes is weird, you know? And it's like, well, if you're trying to do that dichotomy, play it up to someone who would actually enjoy going down on dudes, you know?
It's really, to me, it kind of sounded like if you had a white guy on a song and then all of a sudden for two verses just randomly started talking about, man, I can't imagine all the injustice and things I'd have to face as a person of color. It's like, yeah, you're right. You can't imagine it, so don't.
Yeah.
Fucking leave it to someone who actually has had those experiences, because it sounds really weird and forced coming out of you.
Yeah, especially saying shit like, penis on the wall with those well-proportioned balls. Like,
God damn it.
Well-proportioned balls? Like, what the fuck is that?
How do you know what well-proportioned balls are, Watsky? Are you the expert?
Has that ever been a thing that people have, like, talked about? Like, the size of his balls are perfect for the size of his penis. Like, that's never been a thing. And here's the thing. Here's my thing. So he says, at 13, I was in my bedroom fucking stuffed animals. So why couldn't I get sexual with a man at all? If I could bang an inanimate object, can't I jam the crotch of a man in my jaw and softly massage it? It's just like,
not even closely related.
Yeah, those are two different things. You being a kid and, like, humping a, doll is different from being intimate with someone who wants you to put your penis in their mouth. That's very different things. One doesn't involve, like, another human person.
Just go up to anyone who has ever used, like, a fleshlight or something, right? And then just been like, oh, so those things work pretty well for you? It's like, yeah, it's alright, it gets the job done. Cool, so, like, you ever thought about sucking a dick? Like, what? Like, it doesn't go from one to the next. What would make you think it does?
Like, I guess like, what he's trying to say is, hey, the reason why there are so many guys that don't want to, experiment with their sexuality is because of social conditioning. Like, I feel that on one level, but on another level, some people honestly just have their sexual preferences, and it feels weird to be like, hey, don't be so weird about it. Give sucking a dick a try. It's like, some motherfuckers don't want to suck a dick, goddammit. It's like, I feel like if you tried to twist it on the other end to be like, what, you're gay? Come on, just give eating some pussy a try. It's just like, don't try to change people. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And I understand that it's a lot harder because I'm pretty sure gay people have more likely had someone go like, hey, why don't you just give eating pussy a try and da-da-da. But at the same time, like, the reason why that is not something you say to somebody, to ask them to go against their sexual preference is because it's a very sensitive topic, and let motherfuckers like what they want to like. You know what I mean?
It was this song that most encapsulated the so trying to be like an Eminem type thing that really got under my skin.
So you're saying it's offensive. Or no. Like, if he's gonna do something that's offensive, go full tilt with it instead of sort of like,
I'm actually just talking about like the style. Like, some of the lines in this kind of sound like some bullshit you'd hear on fucking Encore album, era Eminem.
Definitely going down.
Then there's other songs on here where like the delivery and the style is very reminiscent of like super aggro Eminem. And it's like, I'm not saying two people can't have the same style or whatever, but there were some points more than others where it sounded pretty derivative.
Well, what I like about him is that he focuses so much on trying to integrate his flow with the beat. And so when he does that, I literally, my head can't help but like bob to it because I'm like, oh shit, he said this shit, you know? Like where it falls apart is with songs like, Midnight Heart, where it had a killer chorus. And like the first verse was cool, but the second part, it just felt like he was like grabbing for rhymes and stuff like that. So it just sort of fell apart. And I kind of got to hear like, this is when I don't like him. But on the Lovely Thing Sweets, those are possibly like my favorite ones because like, the conversations, Knots, the one where he's literally just like flowing with a classical piece. Like a classical, like, piano sonata. I was like, this is really cool. And I was like, I would love to hear more of this, actually. You know, like, him just sort of rapping with the beat as it switches up and slows down and gets louder and softer. I was like, this is so cool. I want to hear more people experimenting with this. So, yeah, and you know, on Conversations, talking to his dad about, you know, death and how, like, hey, you know, it's all gonna happen to us eventually, but you know what? It's not coming for a long, long time. So enjoy your life. And I was like, that's a cool message, you know? It's like, yeah, you know, we're all worried about death, but like, don't forget to enjoy life. It's like, that's a message that people need to hear, you know? And that's the thing. Like, there are lots of brilliant points on this album, like the stick to your guns about school shootings. So the first verse being like from the perspective of the shooter, the second and third verse, basically the people who exploit the shootings afterwards, like the news.
It's so clever. I think that song is so fucking clever.
And I was like, yes, I wanted to hear, you know, more moments of this. And now I definitely appreciate the fun moments. I appreciate Love Letters, which is the song where you could construe it as being about like, you know, at first being, dedicated to the person that he loves personally in his life. And the second verse, I mean, and you know, you could also construe it as being like, him saying that he loves his fans, and then it's also saying that he loves his influences. You know, he names them at the end. It was like, this is really cool. It felt kind of random where he was talking about like 86 bitches, 86 cups of lean. I was like, don't do that.
This is also 2 albums in a row where Watsky got my attention by featuring artists that I already enjoyed. On Cardboard Castles, he had Kate Nash on a song, who you can see in the Netflix Glow series, which I also suggest people check out. And on this album with Stick to Your Guns, he had Julia Nunes, a artist I've been following on YouTube since 2010. So even long before anyone suggested that we talk about this album, Stick to Your Guns was a track I was already familiar with because I saw she was on it and I listened to it a while ago, and that song stuck with me because pardon the pun, because it was so clever and I liked the feature, and yeah, just like a witty way of tackling a very serious subject that I thought he did really, really well. And for the most part, I wasn't too disappointed, like, with that setting the bar, especially for the first couple tracks. It got corny pretty fast, like, before it got better again, but, yeah, I thought, Stick to Your Guns is probably one of my favorite, if not in my top 2 or 3, just because I like how it's so sweet sounding for how horrible of a thing it's talking about.
Actually.
It's so tongue in cheek, and I really enjoyed that.
Overall, what was your rating?
You know what? I'll give it a 4. I'll give it a 4. If I can overlook the really fucking weak moments, in my opinion, it's really only 3 tracks. I'd be like, I can do without these, and even then, Pink Lemonade is only like so. It wasn't as eye-rolly as Springtime in New York or Going Down, but I guess my only other criticism would be that, and I know people probably aren't a fan of us saying this by now, but it's a little long. Even if you did take out the bonus track, it's still over an hour and like 10 or so minutes. And that's 70 fucking minutes of straight one dude for the most part. And I don't know, man. That's just so hard in rap, especially when you got so much speed rapping, it gets a little exhausting.
I feel like there wasn't too much of it, but the stuff that because he experimented with the flows and sort of had part songs where he sang and stuff like that. So it wasn't just like straight, it wasn't like a Joe Budden album where it's like, here's 8 minutes of me rapping. All right, now here's another song of 8 minutes of me rapping. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Ugh.
So I felt like it was, I give it a 4. I felt like it was, really engaging. It switched up things. I enjoyed some of the funnier moments, but Going Down could have been left off. And it was an interesting experiment, but I didn't need to listen to the Springtime in New York more than once. Yeah, I feel you on that. I give it a 4. Overall, great songs. I think you're going to find a lot of good stuff that you like off of here. It's just like, I find, as I listen to this, I hear someone who took a lot of time to make sure his flow sounded really good. And it shows, and not only that, there are actually interesting topics that he talks about as well. And the stuff where he is just rapping, it's really fun to just hear him go and, where he takes it, So, I love moments like that. I felt like it was a solid enough album where it's like, I would never want to say to somebody like, no, you're not doing good enough if they presented me with something like this. The only thing I would say is like, just take out the cornier moments. You know what I mean? Like, I understand you're trying to like joke, but it's like, there are moments where it's just like, come on, that wasn't.
If you like what you heard, and you like the idea of us going in depth and talking about our opinions on an album that you personally like, that you might think people don't give enough love to, or if there's just an album you'd like to hear our opinions on, it is a one-time $40 pledge to either of our Patreon pages. That's patreon.com/rapcritic or patreon.com/muse. Just shoot us the 40. You can do it either credit card or PayPal, which makes things a lot easier. And once that payment goes through at the end of the month, you're just added to the queue. It's first come, first serve. And we review your album in full, completely, honestly, and candidly. So be warned. But if this is your first time listening to the Going Off podcast, thank you very much for checking us out. You can hear all of our old episodes on SoundCloud and iTunes. You can subscribe to the show on iTunes. That's a pretty easy way to get them as they come out. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you very much to Kill Bill and his buddy Shane for joining us. It's always a treat to have him on. It was a lot of fun conversating earlier. We have a bonus segment also on Patreon for people pledging $1 or more. We went for like almost 40 minutes of talking about different movies and wacky shit. So if you want to hear that, that's on Patreon as well. And until next week, for the Going Off podcast, I'm Muse.
I'm the Rap Critic. And if someone's coming out, dude, let them fucking come out and let them enjoy coming out, man. Like, don't fucking start on being like, so many people have already done it anymore. Oh, it doesn't matter anymore. You know what? It does. It does. The fact that you feel compelled to say that it doesn't matter means that it does.